I'm Deana.
And I'm Suzanne, and thank you so much for tuning in to the Rise and Shine It's Hypno Time podcast.
With Deana and Suzanne.
That's us.
The purpose of this podcast is to help you along your healing journey, to become the very best version of you that you can be, and to create the life of your dreams. We want to give you the tools you need to succeed through personal stories, guided meditations, hypnosis, NLP, and self-hypnosis techniques, as well as interviews with experts in a variety of healing modalities, from energy workers and spiritual healers to chiropractors, acupuncturists, holistic medicine, and much, much more.
Yes, and we also want this podcast to be a place where people can come together, share stories, and be reminded that you're not alone. In fact, the healing journey is a lifelong journey, and we are just so thankful that you're choosing us to be a part of your journey and that we have you to be a part of ours as well. And with that being said, let's start the show.
I'm ready when you are.
Hey everyone, we're so excited because we've got a special guest coming on the show today, Dr. Steve G. Jones, and we couldn't be more excited. Thank you so much for being here. It's truly an honor.
It is. I'm excited to have you here.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you all for having me. I mean, it's outlets like this. That's how we spread the word. So I'm just happy as can be to be here to help others learn how they can help themselves.
Yeah, and we're excited to get you to share just some of your tidbits of knowledge and truth and healing and possibilities. So with that being said, why don't you tell us how you became interested in hypnotherapy in the first place?
Okay. Well, I was in military school. Lots of kids get threatened to be sent to military school or boarding school if they don't shape up. And I thought, oh, what are the odds of that? So next thing you know, I'm in military school. So for 10th, 11th, and 12th grade, and I didn't want to be there. So I was looking for a way out. I found a way out mentally and spiritually. So I started reading a book by Leslie Lecron, a PhD psychologist. And he was part of the team that was, working with Stanford and Harvard, developing all the suggestibility scales or susceptibility scales, as they call them. And he wrote a book called The Complete Guide to Hypnosis. I got it, started hypnotizing my roommates in military school. Of course.
Of course. Especially when they don't know it, right?
Right. You will do this. No, I made it very formal. I had my bunk bed. That was my therapist chair, my couch, and I'd invite them to come for a session if they wanted to, and they were just lined up. So eventually, the smart kids came to me wanting to study more efficiently, and the athletes came to me wanting to exercise more efficiently, have more focus. So now, all these years later, it's the same thing I was doing back then, except now the smart kids are NASA and the athletes are the Dodgers.
There you go. Oh, no. I'm sorry. How are the Dodgers doing? I haven't been following.
I haven't either. I worked with one of their pitchers about 20 years ago. That's why I still mention them. But I haven't been following them lately.
I know sports performance is greatly influenced by the mental aspect. So that's awesome to hear more about that.
Yeah, Tiger Woods, his father took him to get hypnotized when he was young. Because it's, you can know.
Oh, yeah. Andre Agassi.
Yeah, my neighbor Andre. Yep. And who else?
Your neighbor?
Well, he lives in the same city I do, so he's my neighbor. When I lived in Savannah, Georgia, Paula Dean actually lived around the corner from me, and I used to call her my neighbor until she got a different kind of reputation. Then I stopped calling her my neighbor.
Yeah.
So, Andre, I'm going to call him my neighbor.
I gotcha. No, but I know that sports performance there's a big influence on the mental aspect of the game. So that's exciting to hear.
And we also know that you decided to get your doctorate in education. Could you maybe tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, when I was living in Savannah, I lived in Savannah, Georgia during graduate school. And then that's where I got my master's, my specialist degree, and my doctorate. And my doctorate is actually in educational administration. And the reason I did that is because I run about 22, I run several organizations that offer hypnosis, life coaching, NLP, and so forth. And so I got my doctorate in educational administration because I foresaw the standardization of credentialing. So we credential all these people, I certify them, and Dr. Steve G. Jones certified you, or back then some guy named Steve certified you. And so eventually I figured that what's probably going to happen is eventually all the different states, at least in the United States, will say, well, we don't know what a hypnotherapist is or what a life coach is. We need to have standards. If you're trained as this, then that's what you're trained in. And we know that from this state to this state to this state, it's all the same. Even acupuncture has that. Even chiropractors have that. But we still don't have that actually in hypnosis. So having foreseen what will hopefully happen eventually, I wanted to be trained in something that made sense. So my doctorate in educational administration means that I'm qualified to be the president of a university. Most people with my doctorate are presidents of universities. In fact, a lot of my friends are presidents of large universities. So I already have that in place. So I'm aware of all the legal implications, what needs to be done, how it needs to be done, how tests need to be given, how there needs to be a bell-shaped curve. Not everyone can pass, not everyone should fail. There should be an average distribution. So I know these things, and we're doing things the right way. Just in case there's some sort of regulation, but also just to serve our students better.
That's awesome.
That's all. Now, if you go into the accreditation of hypnosis, what about the people who do not have those credentials? Will they be able to grandfather in, or?
I don't know how it will work, and this is a big debate area. I have good friends who strongly don't believe in credentialing, right, because of the fact that a lot of people will just potentially be washed out. You're not following the standard. Well, you are now not able to offer certifications, and they don't like that because they like the freedom that they have. My argument, of course, is, well, once you have standardization of credentials, then you can start billing insurance. And then you don't have to worry about, legal things. And you all know that, especially in Florida. I mean, practicing as a hypnotist, or you can't even say hypnotherapist in Florida.
Right, unless
practicing as a hypnotist in Florida,
right.
Yeah, it's a big challenge because of things that have happened that probably aren't related to that whatsoever. But the legislators are very nervous about it. So they say that you have to have a mainstream license also. Therapist, doctor, something, medical doctor, a PhD psychologist, and then you can practice it. And if you don't have that, you practice hypnosis anyway, there can be trouble. So this would get rid of all that. This would clean that all up.
Right.
Awesome.
It's interesting.
Yeah. So we know that you've been offering your sessions as downloads online for decades now. Can you tell us why you made that step?
Well, it's just easier to reach more people. Initially, I was giving my clients cassette tapes, back in the day. They get done, I give them a cassette tape. I think we still have a commercial. I still have footage of it where, come to Dr. Steve. And I'm handing a client a cassette tape.
That's great.
Of the session. He'll get a cassette of the session. Yeah. So I came in just after reel to reel. So luckily that's not there. And we never did offer 8 tracks. But so I've done it for a long time, is my point. I've wanted to give even clients who come to me, I wanted to give them the session itself. And a lot of people just don't want to go to a hypnotherapist because, for example, I have a friend in Japan. She practices hypnotherapy, and men won't go to any kind of therapist in Japan. It's dishonorable. It's weak. They look. Yeah. So if they do go to see her, they sneak in a secret door where nobody will see them. So this gets rid of all that. You can sit in the privacy of your own home, order something online, listen to it. Nobody has to know that you're, using the services of a hypnotherapist. And of course, it's not a weakness to use any therapy. It's a strength to admit that you need help and to go get that help. So that's why I did it, to reach out to more people. And also it saves time and money for everyone. You don't have to drive somewhere. You don't have to sit in an office. You don't have to, spill your guts to somebody you don't know.
Right.
A lot of people don't like that.
There is a privacy issue with that, but also in these times with COVID and everything that's taken place, it almost kind of forced the need to be able to communicate online and via Zoom and over the phone. but I think it also exaggerated the need for the people who are going through anxieties and fears and everything that's taken place, not knowing what is next. So it increased the need for us to help, but it also increased the ability to help with going online and stuff. So have you found it that it's made it more successful for you?
Yeah, because we were there, we were ready when the tide came in, you know.
You were already there.
Yeah, everybody else had to scramble. Oh my goodness, I don't, my office business is shut down. Now what do I do?
Yeah.
Well, and it's funny because I was at, our mutual friend, Dr. Richard Nongard. I was at his conference and talking right before COVID. And everybody went around giving their final thoughts. They passed the microphone around and everybody said things and they got big applause. Say somebody else says something to wrap up. Oh, big applause. I said, and my comment that got no applause was, and this was before COVID, I said, I think it's great that you all are learning how to run your offices better, but you might want to look at doing things online. Zero applause. It was almost like I was throwing a wet blanket on things. They didn't want to hear that. Sorry.
I said they're thinking to themselves, "Are you crazy?
Trying to ruin the office party or something online."
Plus it was actually a stipulation that you be able to, because I also am an instructor, and it was a stipulation that you be able to work in person with your students or with your clients, being able to kind of read their position or their breathing, or have that in-person feel.
Yeah, but you were really ahead of the curve with that. So
yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think a lot of it is just I like to do things efficiently, and that was the most efficient way. But yeah, the previous argument was, well, if you're not in person, yeah, exactly, you can't really see what's going on with them. It's not the best way. You're underserving your clients.
Right.
All you're trying to take a shortcut. All these negative things. It's amazing how all of that went out the window when all of those folks couldn't make any money anymore, and they had to do it online. Suddenly, it's like, oh, that's fine. That's a great idea.
It's interesting because just the rhythm of verbiage and the energy that's going back and forth between you and your client, whether it's on Zoom or even on the phone, it can be just as effective as long as you're paying attention, because it's verbiage, it's breathing, it's patterns, it's sound. Yeah. So you've been doing a great job.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Could you tell us maybe a little bit about why you're so passionate about hypnosis and self-improvement?
Yeah, I've always been a person who's into that. My mom passed away from leukemia when I was 6, so I've had an emotional wound for a while that I was always working on overcoming. My parents took me to a hypnotherapist in Florida. I guess she'd be a hypnotist now in Florida. And she, it was a little strange. Her name was Dr. North. She was about 60 at the time, and this was the 70s, so she may not be around anymore. But she had me sit in what looked like a dentist chair and look at one of those hypno wheels swirling around and around. Had me wear
all the
headphones.
Stereotypes.
Yeah. And she had a German accent, so it made it, I don't know, the German accent just kind of, it was the icing on the cake for me. So it was just very, it's very movie-esque. And so that was my imprint of hypnosis, but it did help. So years later, I thought, and I thought about what am I going to be when I grow up? And I thought about that. So also my dad passed away from smoking in 2004 from emphysema, smoking-related complication. So that's why I wanted to, help people with that. And so it's always been just the self-help thing has always been something I've been interested in for personal improvement. And then I guess I just remembered the, Dr. North in Florida from the 70s. And I thought, well, that helped me, so that could help others. So maybe I started looking into it.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And there's a lot to be said about that, because I do feel like people that go into this field, it's usually something that sparked within them, or, something that really helped them. And you just want to share that with everyone.
I know a lot of times when we get clients that they come to us and say, it's like we're their last ditch effort. It's like they've tried everything else because they're not educated about hypnosis and NLP and the coaching part of it and the movement part of it and the change in perspective. And so it's interesting that they come to us, and it's a challenge, because it's like, okay, now you've tried everything else and now you're going to put it in my lap. But at the same time, it's an opportunity, because now you're putting it in my lap, and for you to feel change so quickly, and perspective and energy and focus and movement, it's exciting to have that happen with tools that most people aren't even educated about. So we love that you're on here educating us.
Yes.
Well, thank you. And that's very well said. And I agree with everything you just said.
Well, thanks. So do you feel like that hypnosis or NLP, the things that we work on, can help anybody? Can anybody benefit from this?
I mean, yes, they can help anybody. That is certainly a potential for it. But we find out the outcomes are such that some, it's again, a bell-shaped curve. You get most people getting average benefit, and some people getting no benefit, some people getting tremendous benefit. That's, just like most things in life, that's the way it works. But, even heart surgery is that way. Most people get the average benefit. Some people get tremendous benefit. Some people get no benefit, and in fact, pass away after it. That's an outcome that happens sometimes. So luckily, we don't have that outcome because we're not doing surgery. But as with anything else, it's really just a bell-shaped curve, and that's okay. That's the way it should be.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, how does helping the lives of others help to improve your life as well?
Well, it's kind of like when I was younger. One of my first jobs was working in a cabinet shop and working among all these chemicals, the lacquer and so forth, that smelled really bad. And I'm sure I got some kind of health detriment from it. So it's kind of the opposite of that. When you're around something that's, some factory where there's some, potentially carcinogenic materials, they're affecting you in a negative way. Well, hypnosis is the opposite, because, I'm sharing positive words with people. I'm saying positive things all day. We're working on positive change. So it's kind of like I'm breathing in positive fumes all the time. Yeah. So it's been very beneficial to me.
Yeah, I agree with that. I've talked to Suzanne about that and shared with her that because you have to have a certain amount of empathy and a certain amount of being able to relate and understand what somebody needs in order to help them change their life or become better or overcome something. So with every time that you get involved, when you're thinking through your own eyes, what would I need if I was this person? What would benefit me? That influence spills into everything that you do and say. So that's an excellent answer. I love that.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. And I love your addition to it, because empathy does definitely help. You have to actually care about people, and, having been there and done that and suffered through what they're suffering through, which we're all human. So as long as you can tap into that pain that you've had and empathize with them and put yourself in their situation, then I do think it enhances your abilities as a therapist.
Yeah. And I've noticed it's been really interesting for me as well when I have a particular client in the office who is needing help with something, and I don't know, just the advice flows out through me, and then I'll have this, aha moment almost, where I'm like, hey, I think I needed to hear that too. It's pretty interesting how that works.
It's amazing. Yeah. When I used to see more clients before I raised my rates and kind of scared some of them off, when I used to have a steady flow of clients, it was amazing, because it would almost be like in week-long blocks, like whatever I was going through that week, so are all those clients.
It's crazy.
That's funny you say that, because I've always used that statement that everything is similar yet significant to the individual. We all have similar situations that we need to work through, or that we need to become empowered with, or we need to overcome. But the individual uniqueness is for each person. So to be able to understand that we can relate to each other, with what we're working on, is really beneficial too.
Yeah, and the reminder that you're not alone.
Exactly.
Yeah. None of us are superhuman. None of us are exempt from the emotions of life and the ups and downs and the types of things we encounter. So empathy is available to everyone if we just tune into it.
We open up to it, yeah. And knowing the right questions too, because that guides people into the right answers. And most of them have answers within themselves, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that. I think all of the answers are within us. We just need, the key to unlock them, or a good book, or the right person to say the right thing. And then we can go, aha, I had that all along, but thank goodness so-and-so said such and such, or maybe it would have never unlocked for me.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And one of the exciting things about you and your business is I know that you've had some experiences like on television, and I just want to know if you want to tell us a little bit about, a story or two about some of your experiences with celebrities or television, or just you being a celebrity. Can I have your autograph?
Sure, absolutely. Well, I don't consider myself a celebrity, but I have worked with quite a few celebrities. And the TV thing, I was on Millionaire Matchmaker 3 times.
So cool.
That's a Bravo show, with Patty Stanger. She's still my friend and business partner. I was going to be on Shark Tank, but we didn't come to a legal agreement. I won't go into details, but we didn't see eye to eye on legal stuff, so that didn't happen. I was on Bravo's Below Deck. That's another TV show by the Bravo network. And in those instances, I was exposed to television for better or worse, and it was very eye opening. I will say that television is it's a business, and it's run by business people who have business objectives. And one would do very well to keep that in mind when one gets involved in any form of television. And that's not a good or bad thing. That's just, the way it is.
What it is, right.
Yep.
Yeah, well, that's so interesting and so cool.
Is there anything else that you want to share about your passions or what you specialize in, or what just really has made you flourish in this business?
Well, I think my passion has always been helping people, initially helping myself, and then realizing that I could help other people, and then realizing that I could monetize that. I could turn that into an actual career. Right. Luckily, I realized that early on. And so, that was great because I could just follow my passion. So that's been wonderful. And the journey's been wonderful, and I've thoroughly enjoyed it.
That's awesome. So what we like to do at the end of our show is ask our guest a few questions. We call them fast, fun facts, so our viewers can get to know you maybe in a little different way. So if you're ready, we'll go ahead and get started with that.
Ready.
Are you an early bird or a night owl?
I'm an early bird these days. I get up around 5 or 6 a.m., which completely freaks my stepmom out because she was with me when I was from age 10 on. And if I got up before 11 a.m., it was shocking. But these days I'm up at, maybe it's a function of age, I don't know, but I'm an early bird, 5 or 6 a.m. these days. Also early to bed.
Do you know what made you change?
The lovely lady I'm dating now, her preferred bedtime is 7:30 p.m.
Wow. That'll make a change.
And at first I thought that's ridiculous. You're missing out on all the nighttime stuff. Then I realized, wait a minute, what nighttime stuff? I'm getting older. I don't go out at night. I don't do things. So I early to bed, early to rise makes a hypnotherapist, healthy, wealthy, and wise. So there you go.
Oh no, now I'm aging myself. Not to be confused with Asian myself. I'm aging myself.
There you go.
Do you know your zodiac sign?
I do. Sagittarius. Same birthday as Bruce Lee and Jimi Hendrix. So I've always thought that was kind of cool. What about you both?
That is really cool, first of all, but I'm a Leo.
And I'm
Leo, so you're in charge. Okay.
I'm kind of the Sagittarius side of the Scorpio, though, a little bit later.
I'm the Scorpio side of Sagittarius, so yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah,
on the 27th of November, so...
Did you say on the 7th?
27th. No, yeah. I would have been actually cool if I was a Scorpio, because that just sounds cool. Everyone knows Scorpio. Sagittarius people are like, usually the response is, oh, I don't know any of them. I don't know any other Sagittarius people.
I know. I get some funny looks about what Scorpio is like, and
they fear and respect you, just like Leo. Those are both cool. My girlfriend's a Leo, so those are both cool signs. So Leo's the center of the solar system, all planets revolve around. Speaking of, sorry, it's a sore spot for Scorpio. You guys lost me.
No, it's okay. I've
Pluto's
always
no
thought I was
longer-
the center of attention. I don't understand.
That's fine, Scorpio, and no one's going to argue with you because it's a bad idea to argue with the Scorpio.
Yeah. I love it.
Ouch, that one hurt a little bit.
It's a bad idea to offend the Scorpio too. So I think.
I'm actually very passive and mild mannered Scorpio.
Oh, good.
I got all the good qualities and left out all the you know,
of course.
offensive ones.
Scorpio, as I understand the zodiac, is the only sign that can ascend from the Scorpion to the Phoenix.
Really?
So
Oh,
you've
that's
perhaps
cool.
ascended according to the
There you
mythology
go.
or what have you. Yeah.
Thanks. We'll have to talk some more.
Yeah. And isn't your dad is a Sagittarius too, right?
Yeah.
And so is mine. So both of us kind of have a lot of Sagittarius in our lives. So it's interesting
Yeah.
you said that.
Well, hopefully that went well because, we always try to do our best as Sagittarians.
There you go. You're a good example.
Yeah.
Thank you
All
for
right.
representing the Sagittarians well.
Thank you. I do what I can.
So what is one song that gets you hyped up no matter when and where you listen to it?
Well, there is a song that I listen to anytime I have to do work. We're usually doing work these days. And I don't consider seeing clients or doing interviews work. I consider when I create a new product, because normally it's a multi-week project and I have to film for several hours a day. So I listen to Working Man by Rush.
Nice.
And,
Wow.
yeah, the reason-
Rush.
Rush, yeah.
I love
Amazing.
that.
Yeah, and the reason I do that is because, at the time they recorded that was early on. They weren't very rich and successful back then. But I always think, well, Geddy Lee now, he's, a multimillionaire. He doesn't have to work. So now I get to hear Geddy Lee singing about how he's basically just a working man and he's kind of made peace with that. So I think, I've got to do this thing. I've got to record for 5 or 8 hours today, but Geddy Lee's okay with it. So I can be okay
If
with
he can
it
do it,
too.
I can do it.
That's
Yeah.
right. So
That
I crank that up.
There you
Yeah,
go.
I'm adding that one to my playlist.
All right.
There you go.
Canada.
Yeah.
So what is lighting you up and exciting you the most in life right now?
Well, these days I'm rekindling my interest. I'm rereading some books. This is Trance and
cool.
Treatment
Well, that's
by
cool.
the Spiegels, the father and son Spiegel team, a couple of medical doctors. I'm also rereading the Book of Est. And the Book of Est is all about experiencing your experience, understanding your emotions, living in the moment, accepting your emotions, accepting the way life is. So that's been helpful in my relationship. It's also been helpful in life in general. This idea of really standing in the experience, accepting it, and then if you need to make some adjustments from there, go ahead. But the book basically says, and it's based on the training that they do by Werner Erhard, but it basically says, don't live in your concept of the way things are, the way people are. Actually experience it, because your concept may be outdated. But if you live in the experience here and now, then you're going to get some powerful distinctions that are going to help you actually make relevant decisions. So that's kind of where my head's at these days.
Very wise
Yeah.
words. Yeah.
What was
Thank
the name of
you.
that book again for our listeners?
The Book of Est, EST, it's Erhard Seminar Training. And it's what happened is this guy, I think he has a PhD from Berkeley. I don't think he's around anymore, but his pen name is Luke Reinhardt. And he went there and took the training, and he then wrote about it. And I've taken the training also, but I didn't get a whole lot out of it because it was just coming at me too fast and I didn't really absorb it. But reading the Book of Est, then I understood. I listened to it on audio. I've listened to it over and over. My good friend, Dr. Joe Vitale from the movie The Secret, I found out he has a website. You can Google Joe Vitale, the Book of Est, and he has a website where they sell it. I guess they got the rights to it. And so they actually sell it. So you can get it there or any other places. Or actually you can do what I do and go on YouTube and listen to the audio version, which is on YouTube. And I'd listened to it like 10 times before I actually got it. But now that I've got it, I'm applying it. So the Book of Est, EST.
That's
Very
awesome.
good.
Yeah, thank you for that.
Sure.
And last but not least, if our listeners could walk away with one nugget of information, one nugget of wisdom, what would you want that to be?
Well, I like what the musical group America said about the Wizard of Oz. They in their song about
Oz
the
never
Wizard of
did
Oz.
give nothing to the Tin Man that he
Right.
didn't already have.
Exactly. Thank
love
you
that.
for saying that. Yeah, and what that
I'm
means.
sorry, I didn't mean to take that away from you. It used to be my brother's favorite song.
Oh, well, excellent. And just to repeat it,
Please.
what she said and what the song says is Oz never did give nothing to the Tin Man that he didn't already have. And you are absolutely correct in your word for word recollection of that. And what I take away from that is that, the Wizard of Oz in the book and the movie was giving everyone a physical representation of what they wanted to have.
Right.
And what the song is saying is that he didn't give them anything they didn't already have. And I look at hypnosis the same way. And like we're talking about early on in this interview, we're not giving anyone something they don't already have. We're just helping them see how amazing and beautiful and powerful and awesome and motivated and confident and worthy and capable they are. We're
There
just
you
helping
go.
them see that.
Can you
I love
repeat that?
that.
I want to see if you can say it again.
I don't know if I can say in those exact words.
That was good.
Let's
though.
see, motivated, confident, worthy,
Worthy.
all the good
Awesome.
stuff.
Yeah,
All the
that's
stuff that
great.
we want to help them bring out. We're not putting anything in there. We're just actually pulling it out so they can see it
Right.
and then
And
act
bringing
on
it
it.
into their view, whether it's a
Right.
mental view or whether it's a physical view or spiritual view. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's true.
that's awesome. Thank you so much for that. I really appreciate those words of wisdom.
Sure.
And if somebody wanted to maybe work with you or check out one of your books or recordings, how would they be able to do that?
They can go to stevegjones.com, and I've got everything there under one roof. Got the books, the recordings, the certification courses, even have a free audio for people. So again, that's at stevegjones.com.
Awesome.
great.
Well, thank you so much, Dr. Steve. It's been so wonderful chatting with you.
My
Yes,
pleasure.
Thank
Thanks
you,
for this.
Dr. Steve.
Thank you, Leo and Scorpio. You awesome, wonderful people doing wonderful work in the world. Thank you both for having me.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you so much.
Is
And
it-
we'll have to do it again soon.
Yeah.
Anytime.
We'll call you up and have an extension to this conversation.
Yeah.
I love it.
Part 2 coming soon.
Anytime. I'm always up for that.
Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of the Rise and Shine It's Hypno Time podcast. If you found some value in this episode and enjoyed it, please consider liking, subscribing, and giving us a 5-star review. Most people may not know that interacting with our content and our channel helps us to continue the work we're doing and reach more people. And we just want to thank you again from the bottom of our hearts for being such a loyal listener. And don't forget to tune in next week and every Tuesday for the latest episode of the Rise and Shine It's Hypno Time podcast with Deana and Suzanne. See you next week.